Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling blockchain gaming. You know, where video games meet things like cryptocurrencies and NFTs.
Right.
If you're looking to get up to speed quickly on new tech and entertainment trends, but without getting bogged down in technical stuff, you're in the right place.
Absolutely.
We've pulled together info from different places, Wikipedia for the basics, some expert takes from industry articles, and even what people are saying on Reddit.
Yeah, big mix.
Our mission basically is to pull out the really important stuff about blockchain gaming so you can get a handle on it, understand the conversation around it.
Okay. Sounds good. It's a fascinating area. Lots of potential, but definitely lots of debate too.
For sure.
Trying to merge blockchain's ideas like digital ownership and new economies with gaming. It's ambitious. These different sources should give us a pretty solid picture.
Okay, let's start at the beginning then. What exactly are blockchain games? Simple terms.
Okay, so at its core, a blockchain game is just a video game that uses, well, blockchain technology.
Yeah.
Usually that means using cryptocurrencies or NFTs, non-fungible tokens.
Yeah.
And these digital things, they often tie into how the game makes money. Like maybe you can trade game items for crypto, or perhaps you own unique items as NFTs on a blockchain.
Okay, so it's not just getting, say, a cool sword in a game that's stuck in your account. This sword could be a token, proving you own it. And that token might have value outside the game.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the core idea. And it leads to new kinds of gameplay mechanics.
Like what?
Well, the big one everyone talks about is play to earn, where players can actually earn cryptocurrency just by playing the game. Think of like getting paid in digital cash for the time you put in.
That sounds pretty different from how games normally work. How long has this been cooking? It feels like it just popped up recently.
It definitely feels that way because of the hype, but blockchain games, they've actually been around since about 2017.
Oh.
Yeah. But it was 2021 when things really kicked off, when the wider industry started looking at it seriously. Partly the pandemic, partly the whole metaverse buzz.
Right, right.
And it's not just tiny indie developers. Even some major, AAA publishers are saying they're exploring this stuff.
Interesting. Can you give us some names, examples of these games?
Yeah. Some well-known early ones are Axie Infinity, CryptoKitties. More recently, I saw even a new Flappy Bird version from 2024 using blockchain.
Huh, Flappy Bird.
Yeah. And on the AAA side, Ubisoft experimented with NFTs in Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. So it spans from simple collectibles to complex games and established names testing the waters.
Okay, got the basics. So what's the big draw? Why all the excitement? What are the supposed benefits here?
Well, there are quite a few angles. Monetization is a big one for developers. Blockchain's traceability, the argument goes, could offer new revenue streams, maybe even tackle problems like shady skin gambling by making digital trading clearer. But for players, the main hook is probably this idea of true digital ownership through NFTs.
Right.
In most games now, you buy or earn stuff, but you don't really own it. The company does. NFTs could change that, giving you verifiable ownership that isn't tied just to the game servers.
So that epic shield I grinded for, I could actually sell it, trade it, maybe even use it in another game someday.
That's the dream, yeah. Interoperable assets, your NFT items potentially working across different blockchain games. It's a big vision, a more connected ecosystem maybe.
Okay, that does sound appealing. Owning your digital stuff. What else?
The play-to-earn thing is huge, obviously. We mentioned Axie Infinity. Some reports said it generated over $1 billion from player transactions. That points to, well, a potential real economic opportunity for players.
$1 billion. Wow.
Yeah, and beyond just earning directly, you might get tokenized rewards in the game that you could trade or even cash out for regular money.
Okay, so players get ownership, potential earnings. What about the people making the games? Any perks for them besides new ways to charge us?
Huh. Well, yes.
Yeah.
Especially for smaller indie developers, blockchain can open up new ways to get funding. They could issue their own crypto tokens or sell NFTs to raise money directly from the people who want to play their game.
So,
Like crowdfunding, but with digital assets.
I see.
And those tokens or NFTs could give early backers perks, like beta access or special items. Builds a tighter community, maybe.
That could really help indie studios.
Could do. And there's this other idea, community governance, using DAOs. Decentralized Autonomous Organizations.
DAOs.
Yeah. Basically, if you hold the game's tokens or certain NFTs, you might get voting rights on, like future development decisions. Games like Decentraland, where people own virtual land, are kind of doing this. Players actually have a say in how the world evolves. It's like turning players into stakeholders.
From consumers to stakeholders.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And then there are the tech promises, better security and transparency for transactions, because it's all on that immutable blockchain ledger, digital record that's hard to tamper with.
Right.
Plus, maybe provably fair randomness for things like loot boxes using blockchain tech. So you could, in theory, verify the odds weren't rigged.
Oh.
And some even talk about sharing ad revenue with players eventually.
Wow. Okay. That's quite a list of potential upsides. But I know it's not all positive. There's been a lot of pushback, right? What are the big criticisms?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Huge criticism from all sides, players, developers, big companies. Concerns about exploitation, the environmental impact, and just whether any of this is actually necessary.
The environmental thing, that's the energy use of some blockchains, right? Like Bitcoin's proof of work.
Exactly. That comes up a lot, especially in places like Reddit discussions. It's a major sticking point for many. But the worries go deeper. Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, famously said some concepts feel more exploitative than about entertainment.
Ugh, that's big coming from him.
It reflects the general fear of these games about fun, or just about financial schemes.
And didn't Discord have an issue with Ethereum?
They did. They hinted at maybe integrating Ethereum, and the user backlash was so intense they immediately backpedaled. Shows you how skeptical the core gaming community can be.
It really does. Feels like a lot of people think this blockchain stuff is just being, I don't know, forced into games where it doesn't belong.
That's a very common argument. Some developers argue, pretty convincingly, that most things NFTs claim to do, you could already do them with existing tech, probably easier and cheaper.
All right, so why bother with the blockchain complexity?
Exactly. Which leads to the question, is it solving a real problem or just adding hype and potentially new problems?
What about the big game stores? Like Steam, I heard they took a stance.
They did. Valve, who runs Steam, banned games using crypto or NFTs back in late 2021.
Why?
Officially, it was about their policy against items with real-world value. But Gabe Newell, Valve's CEO, later mentioned concerns about sketchy stuff happening in the space back then. Fraud, scams, that kind of thing. And a lot of PC gamers seemed pretty happy with that decision.
That's a pretty strong move. But Epic Games, they were different.
Slightly more open. Tim Sweeney, Epic CEO, said their store would allow blockchain games if they followed the rules. But he also said Epic themselves aren't using the tech in their own games right now. So open door, but not exactly a warm welcome.
So a real split. Even smaller platforms like itch.io.
Yeah, itch.io went further. They just called NFTs a scam, flat out. Shows strong feelings in parts of the indie scene. And you see similar moves elsewhere, like Minecraft banning NFTs on their platform.
Okay, so beyond just feeling exploitative, there are worries about the actual game design and the economics, too.
Absolutely. Critics say many blockchain games so far seem built around speculation, not gameplay, which, limits their appeal. Plus, it's risky investing in games where the value might just collapse.
Yeah.
Some online discussions, like on Reddit again, even compare the models to pyramid schemes.
Seriously, why?
The idea being that maybe early players only profit if they bring in more players, rather than the game itself being sustainable or fun. That's the comparison people draw.
That's a heavy criticism. And I've definitely felt that vibe from regular gamers, the sense that it's all about the tokens, the earning, not is the game actually good?
That's the core of the skepticism from, let's call them Web 2 gamers, looking at Web 3 games. The tech seems to overshadow the fun. And always lurking is that energy consumption issue we mentioned.
And what about artificial scarcity, that NFT thing?
Right. The argument is NFTs create scarcity for digital items that didn't need to be scarce before. Just a way to charge more, critics say, like supercharged microtransactions. People compare it to, say, Valve's Steam Marketplace, where you can trade items.
But what's the difference then?
Key differences often cited are the blockchain energy use, again, and this feeling that NFT scarcity is more artificial or arbitrary. Plus, the worry that the whole game gets designed around the NFT grind, not around being fun. That play-to-earn label gets twisted into play-to-grind.
And the true ownership promise, how solid is that?
Well, that's debated too. Is it really true ownership? If the game shuts down or the company disappears, what happens to your NFT item? It can still become useless, right? Just like items in a regular game.
Oh, okay, so it's still tied to the game's existence, the ecosystem. That's a really important point. Okay, looking forward then, say to 2025, what are the big hurdles experts see for blockchain gaming?
Well, recent analyses point to a few key things. One is just keeping players engaged long-term. Sustainability.
Makes sense. If the earning drops off or gets boring.
Exactly. People leave. Another big one is funding. After the crypto market downturn in 2022, getting investment for new blockchain game projects got tougher. The easy money dried up a bit.
Uh-huh.
And there's competition now, even within Web3. Things like AI-driven decentralized apps, dApps they call them, they might offer cooler, more dynamic experiences.
So they're not just fighting traditional games, but other new tech too.
Pretty much. Experts are saying there needs to be a big mindset shift. Focus on the game first. Make it fun. The blockchain part should be like an enhancement, not the main event with crazy complex token systems.
Yeah.
And then there's just getting people in, onboarding. The user experience is often clunky, complicated wallets, transactions. It's a huge barrier for regular gamers.
I can see that.
Yeah, one report said over a third of industry people thought easier onboarding was critical for growth. So for you listening, just making it easy to start playing is a major challenge they need to solve.
Absolutely. If it's too hard to start, most people just won't.
Right. And we're seeing less traditional investment lately, too, after a bit of a surge early in 2024. It's volatile. So projects need sustainable income from the start, not just hoping their token price goes up.
Okay.
And like we said, competition from AI, gaming concepts, NPCs that learn, worlds that generate themselves, that's another pressure point.
It definitely sounds like blockchain gaming needs to mature quite a bit in design and economics. So given all that, what are the potential ways forward? How do they get past these roadblocks?
Several ideas are floating around. A big one is make the blockchain invisible.
Invisible?
Yeah. Focus entirely on making a great, fun game. The blockchain is just there in the background, making things possible, maybe ownership, maybe trading. But the player doesn't need to know the nuts and bolts. They just enjoy the game.
That sounds much more appealing. Game first, tech second, or third.
Exactly. And tied to that is smoothing out the whole user experience. Make it seamless to go from regular gaming to this. Maybe use things like digital humans for tutorials, anything to make it less intimidating. Also, finding different ways to get funded, not just relying on venture capital. Maybe strategic partnerships, community funding, grants from blockchain groups.
Spreading the risk, basically.
Yeah, and ultimately it comes back to focusing on solid gameplay, good stories, things that attract people for the long haul, not just speculators. The blockchain part really needs to do something useful that current tech can't, and do it without the player having to wrestle with it.
Needs to add real value, subtly. Okay, let's try and tie this together. Compare blockchain gaming to traditional gaming one last time. What are the absolute core differences?
Okay. Traditional games, usually centralized control by the publisher. Blockchain games aim for more decentralization.
Right.
Traditional games, you have limited rights, like a license, to use in-game items. Blockchain games, with NFTs, offer potential true ownership, sell, trade, maybe use elsewhere. For you, the listener, it's about who controls your digital stuff.
Ownership seems key.
It is. Then the money flow. Traditional. Mostly players pay the company. Blockchain, potential for players to earn value back via play to earn. And finally, blockchain often emphasizes transparency, fairness, using those public immutable ledgers.
But we did talk about that debate. Do NFTs really offer much more than, say, the Steam market already does? What's the core of that argument?
Yeah, that comes up a lot on Reddit. Both let you trade items, right? But the differences people focus on are, one, the energy use of some blockchains. Two, that artificial scarcity idea with NFTs. Critics say Steam's market does the job without the environmental baggage or the feeling of forced rarity. And maybe the value stays within a more controlled, less wildly speculative system on Steam.
So similar goals, maybe trading items, but very different mechanics, different implications.
Exactly. And for many gamers right now, the feeling is that NFTs haven't proven they offer enough extra benefit to outweigh the downsides and the complexity.
Okay. Wow, we've definitely covered a lot of ground here. If we had to boil it down, what are the main takeaways from this deep dive into blockchain gaming?
I'd say the big picture is this. Blockchain gaming offers some genuinely new ideas. Real digital ownership, play-to-earn economies, maybe more community control. That's the potential.
Right.
But it's got major hurdles right now. The user experience needs a lot of work for regular players. The economic models often feel shaky or unsustainable. And maybe biggest of all, it needs to shake off this negative image, the concerns about exploitation, environment, and just games feeling more like work or a gamble than fun.
Yeah. So potential versus present reality. We wanted to give you a clear understanding of this complex topic, and hopefully we've managed to cut through some of the noise.
Let's hope so.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. Given how fast gaming and blockchain tech are changing, what could a truly great, widely loved blockchain game actually look like in the future? Could we see something where the tech is so seamless it just works, enhancing the fun in ways we haven't even thought of yet? Addressing all these criticisms and actually using the tech's strengths to genuinely make things better for players. It's certainly an interesting space to watch. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.